the Stinky Popcorn Boys.
We watch movies and eat popcorn. And our stinky.
Hello. We are the Stinky Popcorn Boys. Three boys talking about movies and how they made us feel. I am Patrick Basquill, a secondary cartoon character who watched his friends play for his freedom.
And I'm John Gilardi, the producer, had to tell Michael that it was time to be on set.
And I'm Christian Ames, a figment of Muggsy Bogues' imagination.
Oh.
And this is a landmark episode, gentlemen.
Oh, yeah. I was like, why? Because of Space Jam?
Yeah.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
But no, why, guys?
Well, hey, I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you
see
right
your
in the
face,
eyes.
Patrick. And
right in you. I'm looking at John.
We're in person.
We're in person.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this in the year 2023,
No Domini.
this was way back in the age of COVID. So this is our first in-person episode.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah, and also thank you for listening in 2023.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You really went back to the back catalog to see like
I meant to say 3023. 2023 isn't that
I
far.
think what we do is fairly timeless.
Also, if you're
relatively
listening
speaking.
in 3023, thank you again.
Yeah.
You really went back into the library of like whatever we have there.
Yeah, exactly. I'd like to think that this episode of this podcast is in a time capsule sent out into space and aliens are listening to it.
Elon Musk will become a fan, and then
He'll
And
send
he'll
it.
live
take it.
forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
No,
whoa,
When
dude,
we-
what a great
yeah.
segue.
Space.
Yeah,
Space, dude.
Space. Today we're going to talk about Space Jam. 1996's Space Jam, for those of you listening in 2023, not 2021's Space Jam with LeBron James. And we're also going to kind of touch on The Last Dance a little bit because...
we wanted to find a way to talk about it.
Yeah.
And then we thought, hey, Space Jam, and then all of a sudden they teased Space Jam 2.
Yeah.
Like literally all at
So
the same
is
time.
it confirmed that LeBron James is
Yeah.
going to
Oh,
star?
yeah.
It's confirmed?
It
Yeah,
was
they
something that
put a
was like-
teaser out.
Dude, Michael's not going to be happy about that. I don't think Michael's going to be happy.
Well, I think with Kobe Bryant dying, not to bring it down like immediately,
Yeah.
but I think with Kobe Bryant dying, like a lot of the like beef between like the greatest players, because there was like, Michael was like, yeah, Kobe's better because he's got 5 rings, and LeBron's like, I went to 9 straight NBA finals, and you know, there's that whole thing, and then Kobe Bryant is dead, and everyone's like, you know what?
I realized like life's too short.
Life's too short to be mad about who's the GOAT. We can
Yeah.
all just be good.
That's a good point. Because I would like to think that Michael would show up for Space Jam 2.
That would be great.
That could be a good
Dude.
hidden cameo.
Yeah.
Especially, or just like a like.
I think he should be like the Obi-Wan to LeBron.
Oh. I don't know if LeBron would be okay with that.
I don't see. I
Well,
think
they're
that
both.
too is I don't think that LeBron would share the spotlight really well.
That's true. Well, I don't think Michael would either, which is like the thing is.
I mean, he did with the 5 like stars, especially Charles Barkley had a decent enough. Like he was in there.
Yeah.
Like he was praying, and then he had the where he was playing with the girls.
But he also got his powers zapped from him. Do
Well-
we want to give a synopsis?
Yeah,
of
let's
what,
give a synopsis.
for those who
assuming
haven't seen
everyone's-
Space Jam.
Yeah.
Give it a brief synopsis.
The Looney Tunes, and for those of you who don't know, that's like Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Elmer Fudd, other
Sylvester, Tweety
the
Bird.
Cat, Tweety Bird, Foghorn Leghorn,
The Georgian Southern Bird,
the Georgian Southern Bird
whatever his name is.
who came down the court. He's like, "Oh, I wish I was in a land of."
Yeah, I was like,
It's
oh my God.
gosh. There's a lot of mentions of slaves too in this, and
Yeah.
I was like, damn, this is definitely 1996. But so the Looney Tunes are threatened by some like space worms who are led by Danny DeVito, and they're like, hey, you're gonna be our slaves and work at our amusement park. And they recruit Michael Jordan to help them win a basketball game for their immortal souls.
I wouldn't say recruit. They kidnap him.
They do kidnap him.
But yeah, I mean, isn't that what recruiting is?
Yeah.
Am I right?
Ooh.
Yeah. Where do we go from here?
And then the Last Dance, as we're going to kind of like bounce through that, is in 1998, the Chicago Bulls have won their 6th, or were on the way to winning their 6th championship, and they let a film crew follow them throughout the whole season, gave them an unprecedented access. I feel like there's been a lot of talk of unprecedented. Like I've heard that word a whole lot this year.
The unprecedented times.
In these unprecedented times. And then so they kind of document that final year for 1998. for the Chicago Bulls.
I think a good place to jump in first is, personally for me, why I like this a lot is the 90s nostalgia. I mean, I was a kid who watched this, at 4 or 5. Was this came out in 1996?
1996,
So
yeah.
you were.
I feel like I was
Yeah, you
older
were
when I
4.
first saw it, but I was 4 or 5, I guess, when I first saw it. And like basketball wasn't big in Maine. We had the Celtics. We had no college basketball, so none of that fever was there. But Michael Jordan was always present and prevalent, and you couldn't miss him. As a non-basketball fan, as a family of non-basketball fans, his celebrity's huge. So it's such a cool thing to go back and watch The Last Dance and see all that, and then watch Space Jam and kind of have it contextualize from watching The Last Dance. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot to unpack there. It's really cool.
There's a lot. I mean, Michael Jordan was everywhere.
Yeah.
He was. He
know?
did for basketball what Tony Hawk did for skateboarding. Like
Tony
he made
Hawk?
everybody.
I mean, in the scheme of things, yeah, who's Tony Hawk? Because even Obama is interviewed in The Last Dance, which is funny because he's first put in as Chicago resident.
Dude, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
so funny. Yeah, it's so funny.
But-
like the ex-president of the United States. I remember going to
He says that
Michael Jordan basketball game.
Michael Jordan pushed American culture to every corner of the globe, and I mean the sport of basketball, but more importantly, I think American culture.
Yeah.
And
I mean, 'cause-
he's unrivaled. I think Tom Brady is probably just up there in terms of greatest of their sport.
Mm-hmm.
But Michael Jordan is way out there, past Moron Mountain. In terms of
Yeah.
just being an influential figure. It's insane.
Who else? Is there anybody that goes to his level? Like, even like the comparison to LeBron James or whatever, but it's like, I think that the only reason LeBron James can exist is because of Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Like, they had like Magic Johnson and Larry Bird do their thing and like bring basketball back to the forefront after the cocaine and ABA days of the 70s. But Michael Jordan, I feel like,
I don't think anyone will be able to match him. I think only one, I think LeBron could win 7 championships and
he's still not going to be Michael Jordan.
and have better stats, but he's not going to have that cultural phenomenon at an international level. I think Patrick Mahomes could be poised for that, for a new sport,
yeah.
for being so top of his game so young. I mean, it's still a long shot, but like I see that happening in terms of being this big figure than
Well, like,
LeBron,
even
because LeBron's still in the middle of it. And he's prolific, but he's still like in the shadow of Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's what he's chasing the ghost now.
Yeah.
That's what there's like,
I do want to step in as a resident white guy here. Wayne
resident white and
Gretzky.
straight guy.
But it, I think
yeah. The
it
only
says
one
something.
here, the only resident.
The only white guy on this podcast, Wayne Gretzky, who, if he were to go up against like Sidney Crosby
Yeah.
now, who, if you don't know, is a hockey player, he would get totally destroyed. But it's like how they stood in their time, Like
Yeah.
Michael Jordan was almost completely unrivaled. Shout out to Scottie Pippen. Poor Scottie Pippen, dude.
Oof.
Oh, poor Scottie Pippen. We'll get into that later.
did him dirty,
but,
man.
Yeah, they did.
Well, I think
I think Wayne Gretzky. I can't say.
Rain Gretzky.
But man, Michael Jordan was. It's not so much the ability; it was the sports marketing, and then the emergence of the international community. We're far enough removed from World War II. Communism's dead. The tensions are down, and we have this awesome athlete just crushing it. We have him doing these awesome revolutionary sports deals with shoes. Want to be like Mike.
Yeah.
He didn't want
And then
Nike.
and then the Olympics. So it was a perfect storm of just really great moves, really great timing, and world politics. And
I mean, he is the capitalist ideal as far as like coming from of owning himself and like owning all the things that have to do with him and creating his own. Because again, just it just completely changed the landscape. I would say, like, you got maybe Babe Ruth, the Beatles, as far as like maybe not Babe Ruth. Maybe it's just because I like baseball. But it's like as far as like worldwide phenomenons that changed the way that things worked. You have the automobile,
yeah,
the Beatles, and then Michael Jordan.
yeah, I'd agree with that.
Michael Jordan was like the first Ford truck. Yes. No, I know what you mean.
But I mean, in
like
terms
I
of
was saying with
celebrity
Wayne
and
Gretzky,
branding.
like a product of their time that, like you just said, changed the landscape.
Yeah.
you
I
know.
mean, think of like the influencer space today, how that would look if there was no Michael Jordan, or how it looks today because there was a Michael Jordan. Like YouTubers, like PewDiePie, how he makes money.
Yeah.
You know, traces back to Michael Jordan and all that. But let's talk about Space Jam a little bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say, dude, cartoon. So this movie didn't age super well for me, just because I loved it as a kid, but like watching it again today was just kind of like, okay. But anytime there were like cartoon slapstick butts,
The humor was really
like
well.
the butts are
Yeah.
hilarious. Like when when his pants go down and his butt's out, and then
Yeah.
somebody gets, I think multiple people get smashed with butts.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
spanking humor. There's
There
one
is.
where the
Yeah.
rooster's just spanking a dog in the background, and it's just like a loop of that.
I can't get enough of it. The cartoon slapstick humor, it was like you said, John, so nostalgic. I was like, dude, this is still funny.
Well, that's why I liked Looney Tunes compared to like Disney Mickey stuff. Is
Yeah.
that it's not super sanitized.
Yeah.
Like there is an edge to it, and it's like treating children like they're not idiots. Like they can understand some stuff that
Dude.
that isn't super
Well, and
sunshine and biscuits. I,
I mean,
don't know.
it's timeless. Like
Yeah.
the comedy is timeless, and
Oh, yeah.
I will say those butts were super jiggly. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
that was like something that like the Monstars butts were super jiggly. Like they had a lot of shake and shape to them, which was surprisingly consistent. And I was like,
Dude.
oh.
I have a question. Who wanted to bone Lola Bunny?
Lola,
Oh
yes,
my
dude. I was gonna
God.
say I want to fuck the shit out of Lola.
She's
I-
so like tantalizingly sexualized in this. It's
Dude.
insane.
But don't call her
Why-
doll, dude.
She's pure sex in this.
Why did they make her in her entrance to the game? Why did they make her silhouette? Like what? Who's that for? Like, is it for the parents?
I don't know who it's for. I mean, the obvious answer is it's for Bugs Bunny.
Dude, I remember
That's- I
as a
mean-
kid.
But is he like
you
a- is he-
you start to discover sexuality, even though you start like boys generally. I think the consensus is boys start to jack off around the age 12 or 13.
We could just say
But
call it
like
puberty.
you start to discover sexuality as young as like I remember in
there's the
like
butt.
Yeah.
there's the butts, dude. We're talking about male butts now, but back to the female butts. Back to Lola. As soon as you're like 7 or 8, you start to see like, whoa, like when did you guys?
But they
first
didn't
get a crush on a girl.
I don't think they did this to service
No.
children.
They're not like
No, but I'm
they're not
saying-
like, oh man, we got to get those 12-year-olds and we got to get those 12-year-olds boys to be excited about this.
I don't know, dude. I think they did.
I think it was just like a kind of old world like sexualization of women. There's a girl character in. Let's make her with boobies and make her a pinup.
Speaking
Yeah.
of old world, I love Bugs Bunny's accent.
Oh, yeah.
It's just such an I forgot like what Bugs Bunny sounded like.
Like when he says
"Hey,
learn,
doll,
he says loin.
How you doing?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. A hoid. Have you ever hoid of it?
If you have a hoided it,
Yeah.
I love it.
I
love Bugs.
Oh, Bugs is hilarious.
forgot,
I like
like,
how
I
great
rem-
these characters are.
And I think that too is like watching it this morning. I was like, man, this stuff is really funny. Like it is timeless. You're like, man, I just love. Maybe it's part nostalgia too, where it's like, there he goes kissing Michael Jordan on the lips. That's
Dude,
Like,
also
it could have easily been super antiquated or not time. Like yeah, so we're calling it a timeless movie, and it's impressive that it is because it could have easily been like current events like jokes of the 90s or jokes
Yeah.
of Michael Jordan, but there's just like it's just general humor.
Yeah.
So it's timeless and it's really interesting.
there was also some self-aware humor, like when Daffy kisses his WB stamped ass.
Oh, yeah.
That was so you would never see Disney do like anything.
Or Bill
like
Murray's
that.
entrance isn't explained. He's like, yeah, my agent said.
Yeah, he's like,
No,
I know the producer. I'm friends with the
Oh, the
producer.
Teamster just dropped me off. Like, oh, okay, yeah.
That like self-aware humor was so fucking
I
refreshing.
remember
like
him being a part of it. Like when I think back in the movie and I see Bill Murray, I'm like, oh yeah, he's playing with Michael, like they're
Yeah.
kicking ass together. And then the movie, he's only in for 10 seconds of the
It's 'cause
game.
Bill Murray is a fucking champ, dude.
Yeah.
Bill
Well, I love how
Murray-
him and Larry Bird, after Michael Jordan basically dies in front of their eyes,
Yeah.
for all they know, they're like, all right, well,
what kind of camera is
I
that?
couldn't. I was my.
That was so fucking.
Yeah, and then
Don't point that at me. And then there's like, I'm gonna give us twos on that. I don't think we were both emotionally ready to putt. So
Oh yeah, Bill Murray is.
I mean, the movie has aged and hasn't aged well. But I mean, in terms of technical things, there's some weird stuff like the dog being green, like matted in.
Yeah.
And the angles are off. Like the dog is at a higher angle. Like the camera's looking down him at a high angle, but the background is at a more straight on angle.
Well,
so it looks really weird.
Also proportion, like
The dog is huge sometimes.
The dog is huge, and then they're like, "Oh, Daffy Duck, he's 3." Like, I don't think they say he's the power forward, so he's probably like 3 foot. He looks like the same size as Bugs, and they say that Bugs
3'3"
is like 3'3" from here to tip, and it's like dogs aren't. That dog would be huge then.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
But it's Looney Tunes,
Looney Tunes.
which Michael Jordan doesn't learn until 10 seconds left in the game.
Which he also references as like, yeah, thanks for telling me 10 seconds that I could stretch my arm.
Yeah.
Which I was like,
Was this before Roger Rabbit? Or was it
I
after?
feel like it was after.
I think
After?
Roger
Okay.
Rabbit was
'Cause-
89.
Yeah, because there is that weird like uncanny valley of like you don't see Michael Jordan's eye line going to the characters, but like that's hard when you have to act with nothing there.
Yeah.
He did all right. Obviously, he had some pretty like non-actor reaction kind of moments, but
But for a sports player,
there were some really good.
Oh, yeah,
there were some
for
really
an
good
athlete.
moments. I forgot what one of it was. One of the moments were, I don't remember, but it was really good. Like it was like transcending acting and just being. It was like a genuine reaction to something. Like I believed that.
to me, the
was
moment
there.
that you're sort of talking about, well, for me, was when he comes home from his baseball game and like his kids pull up and he's talking to his
Yeah.
wife, and it's all felt really natural.
Yeah.
Like that was the thing to me. I was like, damn, Michael he's like not a bad actor, because sometimes that's the thing that I've found is that like, you're directing something or you're telling someone to do something or you're trying to act, and it's like the natural stuff that you do every day, like talk to your
Yeah.
wife and pick up your kid. That's the stuff that people can get in their own heads about and be like, oh, does it look weird? How does this look when I do this? And it's like, in order to get past that and just do the natural stuff, it's like, oh, okay, he's not bad.
Especially now knowing from The Last Dance, or allegedly he wasn't into it, and they had to like super appease him with pickup games.
Well, because he was trying to get back.
Yeah. So wait. So where did this fall? So this fell when he was actually trying to come back.
So this
Between championships 3 and 4.
This fell between champions. So he came back. He played baseball post the in 94. So they won 96, 97. So he played baseball in 93, 94.
Yeah.
And then there was the baseball strike at the end of 94, and they wanted him to be a scab because they could get tickets, and he was like, I'm not going to do that. But so then he came back and played basketball for like the last little bit and the playoffs of 95. And then they shot this in that summer, like once they got kicked out. And so he was like, you know what? I want to do basketball. I want to get back in shape. So the bubble that they created. Did you guys see that stuff? Where they created essentially
a gym,
a gym for him.
Was this when he was starting to get yoked?
Yeah.
Like when he was starting to like bench and
for the, oh my God, the movie that we're talking about,
Space Jam.
They built like a bubble for him where he could work out and play. Like they would like bring in basketball players so that he could play with them and get back, because that was his main goal. So he would shoot and then play basketball.
He was probably working like 14, 18-hour days.
They said that he would
training.
wake up at like 4 a.m. or something like that, start working out, then he would shoot, then they would play basketball, and then they would shoot a little bit more.
Dude. He has the ultimate mind of a champion. I think that's truly what makes Michael Jordan
He has like
so
the eye of like
amazing.
of
the tiger.
of like a hawk,
Yeah.
predatory. Like he's always going in for the kill, waiting for the
Yeah.
kill. Like that was the biggest thing from
Last
quick
Dance,
little bit of Last Dance is like, he's a competitor, and like I think that's one of the main edges with the greats is that they're unrelenting competitors, because you have like people with natural talent, and that only gets them so far, and they can still become a great. But you have Michael Jordan and Tom Brady, like so Peyton Manning, amazing talent, crazy intellect, and I'm sure he's obviously competitive, but like compared to Tom Brady, it's nothing. Like there's like that killer instinct that like, I don't care who if I'm playing chess with a 3-year-old, I don't care, I'm gonna bury this kid. And like that seems to be sometimes the X factor with these guys, and it's interesting, and I think there's a lot to take away from that in terms of just there is a mental side to it of just relentlessness, and also Muggsy Bogues is so small.
He's so that's Muggsy Bogues. That's hilarious.
That's a good
transition.
We're
right
watching some clips.
So let's talk about
from the movie.
the NBA player cameos and their kind of story of losing their powers in the Monstars.
They clearly didn't have Charles Barkley on the same days that they had the other 4 guys.
Yeah.
So because his stuff was so separate, but it feels like they gave him a lot of space too.
Dude, when Charles Barkley gets his powers zapped, it's so funny watching him try to act.
Well, did they record those like quick bits during real games? Like, hey, yo, like we're doing a film, like we need to get this quick, because like obviously the gameplay. I think they could easily set up some cameras at a match.
Yeah.
Or game at a match.
There's such a big cameras at some match.
At a basketball meet.
And Zoolander, hey, Pa, who's winning the match? John Voight, Voight just looks at him like, what the hell?
Is that Patrick Ewing?
That is Patrick Ewing.
When he gets his powers sucked, he actually does a good job. Like, but I loved Charles Barkley just like stumbling. Like, but it was
Muggsy
great.
Bogues is probably the weirdest one. Like, he's just like, because he's such a
I love how
looking
small
guy.
he is, but he's probably still like a head taller than me. How tall is he?
He's 5'4".
Oh, nice. I could
You're
dunk
2
on
inches
him,
taller
dude.
than
Yeah.
And
Hell
then
yeah.
Sean Bradley. It's so funny to me because Sean Bradley's biggest talent is being tall.
Yeah.
Because he's 7'6". I mean, listen, no disrespect to Sean Bradley. He had a
Jesus.
better career in the NBA than I could have, even maybe being 7'6". But like when they're like, yeah, all you got now is it's like that. I mean, his powers don't change.
Yeah.
Like he's just tall. He could still do the same thing he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the lore is they just have no hand-eye coordination.
I mean, there's no rule. It doesn't matter. It's Looney Tunes.
Yeah,
That's
I like that it doesn't take itself seriously. Obviously, it can't. But there's also a Mickey Mouse diss in
Tasmanian
there.
Devil.
Yeah. Well,
There was.
There was.
I missed
They
that.
were walking.
Which can you
back.
even say Mickey Mouse? Like, where does that fall? Like, there's like copyright laws rewritten continuously for Mickey Mouse.
What did they say? They were like,
This ain't no Mickey Mouse Ricky Ticky
yeah,
tacky bullshit. Essentially, was the line. Not verbatim, but that was essentially what he said.
That's what the subtext was.
Yeah.
It was like, yo, Mickey Mouse ain't do this shit. Fuck that
Yeah.
dude.
So is the new one with LeBron Looney Tunes? Because I can't imagine Looney Tunes being big right now. Is it big? I don't know.
No,
But if people our age go see it,
Because I mean, Looney
'cause
Tunes
that's
has
who
to be
they're
super sanitized
I would imagine
now.
we're the audience
Yeah.
that they want. They want
Yeah.
like a.
It's. I mean, again, it's like timeless.
Yeah.
So, but it's like,
I mean, you could watch this and not know most of these characters. Like, there wasn't like inside jokes.
yeah, but I still feel like
Needed.
it was more prevalent.
Yeah. I mean, it
Yeah.
obviously helped, And it's crazy that like Looney Tunes were like made 20, 30 years before we were even born.
Yeah,
How
well,
the staying
I mean,
power.
When were the Looney Tunes? When did they?
I don't know. I feel like I was, or maybe I think of like Tom and Jerry because that stuff's old, and that's not Looney Tunes.
Yeah. Dude,
that
Tom and
Hanna-Barbera?
Jerry.
Tom
Tom
and
and Jerry
Jerry.
gets fucking racist.
Does it?
Shit, yeah,
I
dude.
haven't
You
watched
remember
Tom
they
and
would have
Jerry in a
like
minute.
black servants in the house who would yell at Tom and Jerry.
Jesus.
Yeah, dude. I mean, all that it's a
this-
product of the time.
Looney
you know?
Tunes. I mean, this movie
Looney
isn't
Tunes did
racist, but
too.
it like throws slavery around a lot in an
very
amusement park
casual-
way.
Yes,
And then
definitely
a lot of the characters have guns, which I think is fine in terms of what it is. But I know Disney's like sanitizing things. Like they replaced. I don't. What is there an Elmer Fudd equivalent to Disney?
Yosemite Sam.
No, he's in Looney
No.
Tunes.
But is there a Disney? I don't know. But I know on Disney Plus, there's a guy that hunts rabbits.
Wait,
Really?
I don't
does
know.
Disney own Looney Tunes?
I don't know.
No, they don't.
This was on Joe Rogan, actually, the one Joe Rogan I listened to. But they changed a hunter's gun into a scythe, so he's hunting with a scythe. And they like took old cartoons and redid them with a scythe. So
Well,
there's
that's,
a
I mean,
How
when
much-
they when they added the weird to cover the butt and
Yeah.
splash, it's like just leave a butt.
Disney, just own the
Everybody-
fact that you're anti-Semitic and you're racist. Like, just own it.
Everyone has butt.
Yeah.
Don't censor butt.
What
don't
did they
know. I
actually
don't-
do? They added hair
They
to her
added
butt
hair
crack?
and it looked weird.
they
That's-
added like
yeah.
furry hair on her ass to cover her
Yeah,
ass.
That's so.
They like extended her.
And I think you
natural hair.
get one fuck in your PG-13 Disney Plus movie if you have it there. So Hamilton.
Yeah.
Someone wrote an article like, we found the dirtiest stuff on Disney Plus. I didn't read it, but
Dude.
sounds interesting.
I have to say, just reminded me. So, have you guys seen Muppet Christmas Carol?
Yes.
at some
Dude,
point.
so they took out one of my favorite musical numbers from that movie. It was the one where Scrooge, it's in the past, and Belle realizes, oh, Scrooge, you're greedy. I don't want to be with you. And it's this beautiful song where she sings, "The love is gone, the love is gone," and Michael Caine has to listen to her sing it, and it's heartbreaking. I remember like tearing up as a child watching that, because it's the moment you realize, like, if he could go back in time and change that, he could have changed his entire future. And Disney fucking took it out. They took it out. Why? It's one of the best numbers in that movie. Do you remember that song?
I don't. I mean, I was just going to say it's just like the Looney Tunes took Michael Jordan.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, dude.
They censored him from reality.
I
I don't think we ever came full circle on the Lola Bunny discussion.
Oh, what were we getting at? Oh, dude, I love when she kisses
like
bugs and he
like
gets
decision
the full...
stuff. Like,
when he goes stiff as a board. After
Yeah, dude, when
and
he
he's like stiff as a board.
oh, there's a
goes
there's a
boner
sex
full-
joke in when I think he's asked his Patrick Ewing's doctor.
Ewing, yeah,
he's
there's
like, has your stuff impacted your ability to perform?
He's like, are you not able to perform in areas other than basketball?
Yeah.
And he's like, are you kidding? My penis works great.
Yeah.
I'm Patrick Ewing.
He like turns around in the chair.
The closest you see that in, modern kid stuff is obviously DreamWorks PG stuff, or if it's Disney Pixar. But
There's a lot of like subtle adult humor, like the stiff as a board.
Mm-hmm.
There's one where they're digging, and Daffy Duck says, "The view from back here smells awful."
Yeah, I remember
like,
that one.
again, it's just-
Dude, that was also hilarious. I love the cartoon characters look so much better when they're in the real world as opposed to
Yeah.
Michael Jordan in the cartoon world.
Yeah.
Like when they're digging through the ground in the little mound of grass running around.
so many moments of nostalgia in this. For me, one of the biggest things. There's two things. It's a duffel bag. For some reason, the duffel bag was so satisfying. Like, he has a little duffel bag, and I was like, I like that. Probably because it interacted well with the 3D characters, or the 2D characters. But I was like, I wanted my little duffel bag with my shorts. I want to go play sports and pull up my equipment. And the other thing was the juice. Like, that always looked cool.
Yep.
I don't know why.
Especially whenever Wayne Knight was trying to get it out. Like, there was some reason, like, because he was holding the animated object.
Who, Nedry from Jurassic Parks?
Yeah. I'll never forget
Jurassic
him.
Parks.
Jurassic Parks. He was dead. But like he's holding it, and it's like it felt so good to have them have. I don't know. Water never tasted as good as whenever I thought it was my special sauce or whatever.
But then you have Ted 2, where they try to get Tom Brady's special sauce by jacking him off. Or something. Have you seen Ted 2?
I have not seen Ted 2.
That sounds.
I think Mark Wahlberg wants to have a kid, so they're like, "Well, who's got the best genes?" They're like, "Oh, Tom Brady." So they sneak into Tom Brady's
Brady.
house.
and try to jack him off.
And
That's hilarious.
Beat him up. He like beats him up. I've seen that scene. They like throw him off the balcony.
Yeah.
Tom Brady throws them off the balcony.
I love that Tom Brady agreed to do that. That's hilarious.
Well, that's like in and then the Paul Rudd. Did you see the Paul Rudd Netflix show where he?
This massage thing.
The massage thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, this is my 6th time because like it creates a clone of you each time. But I was just like, that's a very funny.
Yes, I do.
Before, and again, that's before all the Robert Kraft stuff. Where Robert Kraft was getting tugged off or whatever.
We I just today or yesterday that was dismissed because I guess the police used, no surprise, didn't follow proper procedure.
Yeah.
So he's off clean.
But I mean, that's a weird. It's
looks like he got off again.
Yep.
Ooh.
And he also probably had dope lawyers who could. I mean, the cops probably did 98% of the right procedure.
Yeah.
Because they're not robots. But if you had a good lawyer,
if you had a good lawyer, they're just one thing. That's like just flexing like with the whole. Anyway, I won't get into this, but Ryan Braun got off from doing steroids because they passed the sample of his urine to like the wrong person, and like someone like accidentally opened it at the wrong place at the wrong time, and they're like, yeah, see, that sample of me getting a steroid positive test is it's contaminated. They probably fucked me up.
Yeah, I mean,
go.
there's a seed of doubt, without a doubt or whatever is the.
There's beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of the American justice system. Look at OJ, who was innocent.
Just
sure.
like Michael Jordan.
Yeah, back to Michael Jordan.
Well, I guess interesting. We were
Didn't kill
talking
him.
about those figures, like maybe not on much of an international level, but OJ was there right
Yeah.
around the same time as Michael Jordan,
Yeah.
which is interesting.
He quit football so that he could be a movie star. Like, that was
Yeah.
a dude. And he's just an interesting, if you haven't seen the OJ Made in America series on ESPN as well, that's another one to check out because
Yeah.
it's just interesting to look at. Like, he was like a black dude who didn't want to be black, who saw himself as, like, he just wanted attention,
Yeah,
And that was his main thing. And he's like, oh, football's getting me attention, so I'll follow football as far as it goes. And then it's like, oh, I can get more attention being a movie star?
that sounds super sociopathic.
Which is,
Yeah.
oh yeah, but still going back to the mind of a champion, just in a different way. Whereas Michael Jordan just wanted to win, OJ was like, I want to be seen
I want to be seen. I
and,
want to
and kill people.
You still gonna get that Bronco?
Yeah. Oh, dude, the new Bronco looks so
cool.
good.
They look dope.
Looks so
looks
good.
cool.
My biggest
and
thing
I
is
love the memes. Too.
I need the
jokes coming out around it are just grade A.
it's in that weird tweener stage of like not being a sports utility vehicle, which is dope because you can put things in it. So it's just like I don't know. We're talking about Ford Broncos now, but
Yeah.
so this movie, if you're like, so if we got a fan, a listener base who aren't into basketball, who aren't into sports drama, sports marketing, the '90s, all these things. What's the? I think there's a lot. I'll just say I think there's a lot of timelessness with this stuff, with The Last Dance and Space Jam. But why? Like what? Why are these things that you can easily recommend to people?
I think for me, Space Jam is, it's a picture of that time.
Yeah.
It is like kind of like a time capsule in how they made movies. Michael Jordan was a big thing. The Looney Tunes, sort of on the tail end of their sort of arc or whatever. But it's like, that's just, if you feel like taking an hour and 15 minutes or whatever it is and just like kind of going back and feeling like a kid again, that's why I would watch Space Jam.
Dope soundtrack too, of its time, but it's still very good.
Yeah.
I would say for anybody who hasn't seen Space Jam, watch The Last Dance first, and
would
it'll
do that,
make you
Well,
appreciate it more.
Why
'Cause
would Brittany Calhoun and her boyfriend James Madison, these 21-year-old college students in their dorms, not doing anything? Why would they want to watch The Last Dance if they're just watching TikTok? They maybe watch the Super Bowl once a year,
I'll just say this.
or football once a year, which is the Super Bowl.
My wife didn't want to watch it, and we started watching it at 10:30 p.m. one night, and she was like, I don't want to watch this. And I was like, I heard it was good. Let's try it. I fell asleep, and she was still up at 4 a.m. on the 7th episode.
Damn.
So you don't have to, I don't really care about basketball or sports in general, but it is a portrait of a champion, of a warrior, of a superhuman who can just watch how other people play and absorb their abilities. He's like that, to get anime here, he's like that anime guy from Dragon Ball.
Goku?
No, the guy who absorbs other people's powers. Boo, yes, he's like
Yeah.
Boo. He sees what they do and he does it better. Like Michael Jordan.
There's a Taskmaster from Marvel.
Yeah, exactly. Like he truly is superhuman, and they use that word so much throughout the documentary, and it's true. Also, it's just shot so well, considering it was shot like back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
the
restored
footage
the
looks
footage
fantastic.
beautifully.
It's incredible.
I think it's good for anyone who appreciates greatness. I guess it sounds stupid, but
No,
we're all humans trying to make
exactly.
it out in this world, and we're all doing things in this world, and we're trying to figure out what the difference is, or what'll help us get there. And you can watch a bunch of great people in this documentary and kind of get inspired,
Scottie
or just
Pippen.
learn some things that what it takes. Because none of these guys came from any. They just were people who came up, through talent and good luck and hard work and.
Dude, Scottie Pippen.
It's definitely very inspiring.
Yeah.
Like that's, that's what I took away from it is like, Michael Jordan is maybe a sociopath who like did the thing, but in a weird way, like on that end of the spectrum, there's something to the same way that, Steve Jobs was a sociopath and like pushed all the people in his life away. There's something to like aspire to in that, or that I aspire to, where it's like, man, I really wish that I like just finding that drive and watching other people finding that drive to just go for the thing that they want with no holds barred, with a singularity that's just like, here I freaking go, dude. I'm doing this, and I ain't stopping until everybody in my path is not as good as me.
Yeah, like watching when he was competitive in every aspect of his life. When he was playing cards, golf, it was hilarious watching him talk
gambling?
shit on the green.
Oh yeah,
It's so good.
I love in terms of The Last Dance, or talking on that side of things, how cancel culture was strong then, trying to cancel him. It was just kind of an old family traditional conservative
gambling.
America
With
angle, but
with him getting his dad killed or whatever.
well, that was fucked up. But
that
the
was
fact that he just his explanation for gambling was like, I like to do it. Like it's like I'm competitive.
Also speaks to his
That's
just
all
like
it
they
is.
said in the documentary. It speaks to his character. He's competitive. He's willing to put everything on the table if it means the chance of a huge win. Like,
and I don't even think it's about the money. Like when he was gambling.
Yeah.
And that's the funny thing too, is I thought about like at the end of Space Jam, you know, why is he like, let's raise the stakes with this, with this alien overlord? And I was like, of course Michael Jordan's going to raise the stakes.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter. They're already down.
Yeah.
And it's like, he's like, yeah, I'm going to raise the stakes. Let's go. You can take me, but you got to, you know, he just wants to win that much harder.
That was like a prime example of one of the many things that watching The Last Dance enhanced the watching Space Jam.
Yeah.
Which is like, you could pick up these little things, and it has to be on purpose. It's not like it wasn't a secret that he liked to gamble.
I would say to Brittany and James too, and also James Madison, congrats on having the name of one of our founding fathers. No, it's a great poll. But it's also just really fun to watch the stuff behind the stuff, because you see basketball games and maybe you don't care about basketball games, but seeing them at practice and seeing them talk shit to each other at practice and seeing Michael Jordan actually practice, because you have this idea that like Michael Jordan shows up, or Kobe Bryant shows up, or LeBron James shows up, and they're just better because they're 6'9" and 6'6", and they're just faster, and they're they do a little bit. But seeing them practice, seeing them go at it and like work out, and like seeing the stuff that goes behind it, seeing Michael Jordan stuck in his hotel room because he doesn't want to like deal with that. It's like, I just love seeing the behind the scenes of that sort of thing.
the foundations of the champion.
Yeah, because I love watching when we shoot music videos and stuff. I like watching, even though I was there behind the scenes directing and stuff, I love watching the BTS.
Yeah.
I'm always a fan of the process.
Yeah.
That's like, whenever there's a behind the scenes of something, I love diving into that. And it can be anything. And again, I like sports in terms of the Patriots. I kind of just pick that as my thing. I'm not like a big sports fan, but but with that said, just like getting deep on the basketball side of operations, the marketing,
Jerry Krause fucking everything up.
Yeah. Well, I wondered. Okay, so one of the things I wondered it was, Nedry from Jurassic Parks. Was he like a Jerry Krause kind of like little
Like
shorthand?
a little burn on him or something?
I don't know.
I don't know.
That could be, because Michael shit on him all the time.
but-
So did Scottie Pippen.
And it would make sense too that they like that he was just kind of goofy at that point. 'Cause
Yeah.
he hadn't tried to. It's just so crazy to me. It's like, if you have something that's working, I understand wanting to sort of like change and upgrade and like figure out your like transition as like all your people are aging or something.
Yeah.
It's like maybe, but it's like, why would you just blow it up?
I think also you want to prove himself more.
Yeah, and they said
Michael
that
Jordan.
too, that he had an ego problem. He had to, I think they even said Napoleon.
I think the guy was
syndrome.
he obviously was great at what he did, but also at the same time, I think he was a little poop bag.
Well,
It was a
and
little-
it's
a little
also
too.
It was also easy to hate because he looks looks bad.
He made it.
Can you imagine if he was actually a super nice guy and they just framed him to look
Yeah.
like a total
Which is
scumbag?
totally possible because
it's 100% possible.
Michael Jordan had final say on the cut on this.
Yeah.
That's
so.
that's what I was gonna say. It's like, we'll never, and also he's dead. Jerry Krause is
Yeah.
dead, so we'll never get his
Oh, he
side of
is?
the story. Yeah, I
Oh.
think he died in 2005 or 6 or something like that.
Good
Jeez.
riddance.
He didn't live much.
I know. I'm kidding.
He didn't go for much longer than after the.
No, I mean, I also might be wrong. It might be like 2011 or something like that. I have no idea. It's been a long time since I saw The Last Dance.
He didn't look healthy then, so.
No, I mean,
he was a little toad man.
He was a little toad man.
He looked like one of these little aliens before they get blown
He
up.
also-
I wonder if
Kinda
that's
like
an
White Knight.
inspiration to like
Oh, from
Literally-
Space Jam. We're
Any-
talking about the
anything-
little worm people.
anything ugly or repulsive or annoying in this movie is like, wait,
Dude,
was that Jerry Krause inspired?
Speaking of ugly and repulsive, I relate most to the blue worm person. The one that's like
The Sean Bradley one?
The dude, what's up? Yeah.
But he has like always like the low hanging fruit like jabs and like, are we there yet? But it's to me it wasn't annoying when it very easily could have been.
I think there wasn't. I think that's one of the things about Space Jam is that there wasn't ever too much. Like they didn't linger on a joke too long. And again, just the movie itself, it's only an hour and 15 minutes long. It's like they don't linger on anything really too
Yeah.
long for you to be like, all right, I'm tired of this, you know? Or it's like they make that joke and like, oh, this is the goofy one. And they're like, he's the goofy one in this scene. And then like it comes back maybe like 15 minutes later and you're like, okay, yeah, it's the goofy one again.
Do you remember that really weird cut in the basketball game where there's like some like it's like epic music or like a sound? It's like some like emotional track, and then just hard cuts to Michael Jordan like dribbling and takes a shot. I don't
don't
remember
know.
that cut.
Well, I have a couple basketball notes just about the game. I have a couple thoughts
Sure.
about it.
Our
Scouting
resident
report?
baller.
Resident baller.
I just wonder what the tensile rating on those boards are because the Monstars are huge, and they're just dunking and hanging on the rims for, like a whole lot. Like obviously Looney Tune Land, but it's like
I would have thought it would have been funny if they just broke every single
if
time.
they broke every time. And I was just thinking like Bugs' entrance, he pops up through the boards like now we got to fix the court.
Yeah, it's a quick easy joke there.
Is he allowed to breathe fire? What are the foul situation? Is there a referee?
What was it? The Martian? He's a bad ref. I thought.
He's a bad ref.
What is he doing?
He shot one of the players.
There's guns on the court.
There's guns on the, like Yosemite Sam is they shoot him. They have a Reservoir Dogs reference or Men in Black. No, because Men in Black hadn't come out yet. I think it's Reservoir Dogs where they have Elmer Fudd and Yosemite Sam shoot the teeth out of one of the Monstars. Also, first half only dunks. The only way you can score in this game is dunks.
Yeah.
Not until the second half is there a mid-range shot. Also, a lot of fouls. I will have the Monstars only scored 11 points in the second half. They scored
Really?
66 in the first half,
Oh wow,
and they all
that's some solid D.
Yeah, it was 77-76 with 10 seconds to go. And Michael Jordan, they stole a ball through a fantastic gut punch move. And Michael Jordan stretched his arm from half court. 78-76, only scored 11 points in that second half.
When he did that stretchy move, there was also a funny little inside joke where I think that was the moment where Bill Murray's like, pass to me, Michael, I'm open. And he's like, never mind. A nice little reference to
Yeah.
the fact that Michael never passes.
There's a bunch of Caddyshack references, too.
Really?
I didn't think about
In the
that.
thing where, Bill Murray, especially Bill Murray and Chevy Chase, who famously fucking hated each other. They got in a fist fight when Chevy Chase came back to host Saturday Night Live. They
Are you serious?
hated each other.
I want to see that fight go
Oh
down
my
because Chevy
God.
Chase is known to be a huge dick, and then Bill Murray is known to be like a wonderful person.
He's
I
Bill
bet that's
Murray.
why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not like a Bill Murray fan,
dare you.
historically, but just out of like I just haven't watched him in a lot of things. But Space Jam was one of them, and I really liked it.
Ghostbusters.
I haven't watched Ghostbusters at least as a conscious in recent memory adult.
Gasp.
But I do want to. I need
Sacre bleu.
to. Well, him and I mean, I've watched a lot of Robin Williams, but him and Robin Williams, I want to go back. And I'm also that's just the thing I'm enjoying doing now is watching 80s and 90s films. I think that's like my biggest quarantine thing is going back and watching those kind of
Yeah.
films because they're so good and they're familiar enough with like the tone and the technology I guess behind it. I don't know.
Especially now as we sort of like, I feel like...
Tapping out the library, tapping out the
Yeah.
what's there. The guy looks so.
Well,
weird.
and between, like, the three of us sort of reaching almost 30, where it's
Yeah.
like, I want to go check those things back out again. That
Oh yeah, rediscovering things is dope. I feel like between ages 10 and 18, you kind of dive deep into things you're really into, and then through college, you kind of. This is just speculative off the top of my head, but like in college in those years, you're kind of like new things. What's coming out? You're going with your friends to events, to concerts, new musicians, new movies. You're watching new TV shows together, and then I feel around this age, it's just kind of like.
Let's
It's
reconnect.
because-
Let's get
Yeah.
Exactly, because we're all going through our midlife crises, so we're like, I
Quarter
want to
life.
feel young again. I'm gonna go watch Hook because that
Yeah.
movie's great.
the movie. It's great.
But no, I know exactly what you mean, dude. And also just the look of '90s films, just the look of it, like
it definitely has.
Anything before
there's a
90,
feel.
anything
Yeah.
before
Nostalgic
98
feel.
was for sure on film, because Phantom Menace was the first digital, digital.
First, like fully digital.
And obviously it took time to fully get adopted, but 100% everything before Phantom Menace will be film, so it has that feel to it.
Yeah.
which is nice. And then it still has like kind of old time film production feel to it. Like the sound design is still fine, but you can hear the Foley sound effects and stuff like that, which
Yeah,
I
it's
like.
not as integrated. I also want to make a note of just the bit where in the beginning where Michael Jordan he gets a ride from his manager's publicist in his beat up convertible to his house, which is in a suburb.
Yeah.
And he walks up his open driveway. It's like Michael Jordan's house is. There's no way his house is just in a suburb. It's not fenced in,
Yep.
where people could just get there. But I think that it was like a cool, conscious effort to be like, "Hey, Michael Jordan is a normal person. Like here we are presenting him as a normal person." But it's like, and then his wife is driving all the kids home from
In
the
a
thing
minivan.
In the minivan.
I like that his kid had like a 2 for 5 batting average, and it brought his
I was like, how does it bring it down 32
Yeah.
points? That's a good day.
Yeah.
Going 2 for 5, you're batting 400 on the day, and he's got a 625 batting average. Oh, that's all? It's like,
I think there's a lot of good shorthand though for like character development, world building around the character and the family.
yeah.
One of the interesting things, he does have 2 sons and 1 daughter, and then he has a wife. They were all obviously actors, so it'd be interesting. Like they did a peck kiss, which I think is ultimately, I don't think his wife had a problem with that, but it was if you're the kids, at that young age,
Yeah.
that would be so confusing. I wouldn't be able to understand, why is my dad there with other people?
Yeah.
And that's not my house, because
This ain't me. What are you talking about?
Why did he
How
kiss
old
that
were his
lady?
kids at the time? Probably around the same age as the actors. I'm guessing.
Probably.
Yeah.
Honestly, maybe a little bit older.
Yeah.
And that might be right, because I'm trying to think about when his divorce was.
So is he single?
I don't think he's single now, but and they also might have it might be one of those things where they divorced for a little while
And then get back.
and then got back together. Because I know that there was a big.
The interesting thing about the
sociopath, and then he was just like,
Oh, yeah.
you know what? I'm just gonna focus on basketball.
that was one thing about The Last Dance. It obviously wasn't about Michael Jordan explicitly,
It was wow, Michael.
but it was about him.
Yeah,
And-
I think
and
a
there's-
little
and
with a
there's-
dash of Scottie Pippen.
And there's the question of, and Rodman, but there's a question of, is this a super focused documentary about Michael Jordan and specifically his sports career, or is it about the man? Because there was you go into his father and some of his growing up, but there's no sense of him being a family man in that at all.
I don't think he was.
Which if that's the truth, and it's omitted, is that being communicated? I guess that's there, but it's never explicitly said, and it's really interesting, and it's kind of sad.
Yeah.
And his kids are in it, and there's no way they only interviewed the kids for the Utah Jazz game.
Yeah.
They probably interviewed his children for a while, and they're like, you know what? They don't really matter. They don't fit into this.
This doesn't fit into.
And that made me sad. I mean,
Well,
obviously he probably loves
there's
his
a
kids, and they're probably live pretty good lives, but I don't know.
There's a
Interesting.
moment where he signs an autograph for a kid and just doesn't give a fuck. He's just I just remember because my wife pointed it out. She was like, he just pawned off that little boy like he was nothing. And I was like, yeah, but he's a god. Who's that kid?
Well,
Who the fuck is that
that
kid?
wasn't my-
I'm Michael Jordan. I'm a god.
My take was that he's essentially an object to people, and he's been an object for people and been bombarded consistently. And I think that was a really cool thing in the documentary series that it communicated, is his burnout from being on all the time, from being this object of I guess like a deity almost to people. So
'Cause
I get
which-
that. And there's also a lot of the time that happened. It was always the parent there doing it, and there's like this weird parent shaming thing. It's like it's my kid,
Yeah.
and
It's for my kid.
Yeah,
It's for my kid.
And
Yeah.
I know
You're
for a
not a
fact.
monster.
I don't know for a fact, but I know that happened to him a lot.
Yeah.
Oh,
And nothing can
all
make
the
you
fucking
jaded from doing that for kids than that asshole parent guilting you into it.
Well, I mean, just think about the for me, like the Beatles. It's like the Beatles, they stopped doing live shows in '69. You know, and they had only been touring for 4 years, and they that's pretty crazy. And I would compare.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they only toured live they toured in like Hamburg and stuff like that, but I think they came over in '66 or '65 or something like that. Mm-hmm. And their last stadium, Shea Stadium, that was like their last thing, and they did everything. The last concert they did was the last concert they did for Let It Be. They played it on the rooftop, so nobody could fucking get to them, and they like
Damn.
basically put it out live, on TV, and just comparing that to Michael Jordan, because that's the thing. It's like, I wish you could have kept playing. I wish you could have kept doing the thing. I wish you stayed with the Bulls, made it work, or just did Tom Brady and went to the Miami Heat or whatever, and just keep playing because he's Michael Jordan. He still scored. He still averaged like 28 or 30, almost 30 points that last season. It's like, oh, give us more. And he's like, I've given you everything because you asked for everything, and I give it to you.
dude, that's why Britney Spears wrote the song "Give Me More," because people, they don't look at it like you just said, John. They don't look at you as a person. They look at you
Britney
as
Spears
the
is another
object.
Good comparison.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
Oh,
like
yeah. They're like, you are just here to
Yeah.
entertain me. Do what I want.
Yeah.
Score points. Sing songs.
You're here, like
You're-
Britney Spears. You're here to inspire my daughter to be cool. You're also here to make my boys horny. And it's like, do
Say-
everything for me. Be a virgin, but also be sexy.
all of those things also for Michael Jordan too.
Be a virgin, but also
Make
be
my
sexy.
son horny.
Make my son horny. Make my daughter horny. Make my son aspire to be you.
Do you remember going back to Space Jam? This is like
Let's bring
classic.
it- let's bring it
classic,
back.
I mean, no, it was good discussions, but it's like a classic '90s thing when the kids run into Daffy and Bugs Bunny, and they're like, "What are you doing?" They're like, "What are you doing?" And we're like, "Oh, we're playing a game with your dad." And the kid's like, "Oh, I forgot."
Awesome.
Yeah, he says like, "Oh, like it's such a '90s
Oh, cool.
thing."
Oh, when
his
they're
delivery.
leaving,
yeah.
and the tallest, the
Yeah.
son is like, "Good luck," or
But he does the
He's-
thumb. He does the thumb like he
We
thrusts the
require-
thumb out, but then it has that little recoil, like the second bit.
We require no more information for us.
Yeah.
As long as you got our dad
Yeah.
safe.
Yeah.
I also in the '90s we loved a good dog jumping on the chest, knocking down
Yeah.
a full-grown person. We loved that.
Oh, yeah.
That happens so much when his giant bulldog jumps on his chest and it's clearly a fake dog.
Yep.
And it's like, man, we don't have that bit anymore. I feel like
That's
Tim
true.
Allen got that hit a lot. I wish I
That
could've-
movie C Spot Run, you remember that
Yeah.
movie? That was a hoot. Just dogs being goofballs.
Just dogs.
Beethoven. Oh, that's another
We
great
love
movie.
dog stuff.
Yeah. Oh,
You
yeah.
got to have a dog in there. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that dog was. We also were playing some looped scenes from the movie when the dog beats up Daffy Duck in the doghouse. You get the classic like
Yeah.
whirlwind of like. Oh, and the sound effects. I love that one sound effect. They're like like when
Yeah.
somebody shakes their head off. I
love
somebody do it. Patrick, you can probably do it better. It's like yeah. That's it. I love that
Patrick
sound
Baskell,
effect.
Foley artist.
Well, the way he has his he has one shoe on his coffee table, and then he has the other one on display when
Yeah.
they go there. It's just like,
Why is that up there, bud?
The whole sequence of meshing the real world with the Looney Tunes world is so. I love how it doesn't care about the rules or the setup. Like it just felt like a fetch quest in a video game. Like go get the things, and like they're there for gameplay mechanics or whatever.
Dude, the cartoons look so good in the real world as opposed to like Michael Jordan looks a little bit off in the cartoon world.
I think
But
a
they
lot
look
of
so
it is-
good, like the 3D, the way they
It's
animated it
the
looks
way
so
they
good.
shaded it. Like the
Yeah,
edges
I was
are
gonna
dark,
say it's the shadowing.
Yeah.
which they brought into when it's full cartoon world, especially with the Monstars. But it doesn't. I think obviously it would have looked better flatter because that's what we're used to. And it's a stylistic choice, but it's a stylistic choice where it looked better in this world.
But they didn't go too far. And also, I mean, as opposed to Roger Rabbit, where I feel like the rules of that universe were a lot more like defined and were allowed to be a little bit like of talking about who framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah.
Where it's like they were allowed to be a lot more explicit with what they needed to do, whereas this you have to like, oh, there's Michael Jordan, he can only act so much, and then also they have like, oh, the Looney Tunes, they have to kind of look a certain way. There's only so much that we can do to update them or change them to fit this.
Well, there's always the movie version of an animation compared to how you saw it on cartoons on TV.
But you better get my Sonic right, dude. You better get my Sonic
Dude,
right.
Sonic 2 is confirmed.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
And we better get Knuckles in it. I know we're gonna get Tails.
Knuckles in it.
Yeah, changing the character model definitely made the movie better.
Yeah.
The movie's story didn't change.
Yeah. Well,
I think that's another. I mean, that little bit is like another thing. Like people don't know how making movies works.
yeah.
They just see the end product and think that's it. So it's the same thing with an athlete being exploited
like we were just saying,
as an object.
People see the final product of the champion, but it's cool to see the making of that champion.
I think that was one of my favorite moments of The Last Dance is whenever they ask him the question, be like, hey, you know, how do you feel? Everyone thinks, like, again, I'm paraphrasing here, but it's like, how do you feel about everybody thinking you're an asshole because you did a whole lot of winning and you pushed your teammates really hard? And he's got that moment where he's like, you know, that's the only way I know how to play.
Yeah.
If they didn't want to play that way, they could leave. And, you know, you see that, there's just like such a long moment where it's like you realize, again, talking about him not being a family man. I'm not getting choked up, I just burped. But like him not being a family man, and you can see him like thinking about it, where it's like, how much shit did I give up? How much stuff you sacrifice in order to be Michael Jordan?
Yeah.
Which I think goes back to, because his father always pushed him too, right? Didn't he say like his father constantly pushed him?
Not really.
To, like,
I mean, from what I remember, and I think you guys have seen The Last Dance, is like his dad kind of pushed them all, and I think that it was a product of Michael Jordan being either the middle child and his brother beating the shit out of him. Not like in like a mean way, but like
in sports, he was always better at
his brother
like,
was
basketball.
always better. As
He wanted that approval over his brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess the last thing on this, and Michael Jordan, for what it's worth, is, you know, we're in Wilmington, North Carolina. He's from Wilmington, North Carolina, so that's cool. Apparently, Wilmington didn't treat him well, his family well in the 70s, 80s, 90s, which totally understandable.
He grew up in like what, the 70s and 80s, which was still
and Wilmington
a very
was
tense racial time.
I mean, it's still a pretty tense.
Yeah.
It still
also
is. I mean, it's
as awesome Wilmington is as a home. It obviously had a little history lesson. Obviously, like black community, it was like the Black Wall Street, you know, with Tulsa. It was essentially more or less the same thing, but it happened here first.
Yeah.
And essentially ruined the black community in this city for pretty much ever.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, you could go into the socioeconomics of it, because Wilmington is still essentially segregated, you know, but not through like, oh, you're only allowed to go to these places, but it's like through socioeconomic means, where they put people. Like, this is where they put the kids in school, so that, you know, the kids on Carolina Beach or over there going to those schools in like Ashley, it's like, you know, there's very few exposure they get to people of other colors. And then, you know, it's just
think about that
cycle.
Rewind 30 years ago, and it's even, you know.
And he went to Laney, and that's like out in the boondocks, and, you know, and like, so I can only imagine.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think he claims North Carolina as his home as a whole and doesn't really look back to Wilmington super fondly, which, fair, obviously.
I get it. No worries.
Yeah. But it's cool. I mean, it's...
we love you. We love you here, dude.
One of the biggest...
Come back to Wilmington, dude.
Arguably the most famous person in at least the last century, you know, is from here. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Amen,
I would say
Drinking that Gen X water, so obviously can't be that much wrong with it.
Yeah, little inside joke for anybody who knows Wilmington, North Carolina.
Thank you very much,
We got
Kenward.
some pollutants getting dumped in our water supply, which
I've been
is...
drinking it since I was 9. I'm feeling fine.
We'll see how we all end up. Hopefully. Yeah. Well, let's. What are you guys watching?
Yeah.
Or do we have?
Do you guys want to hear some reviews?
Oh yeah.
I want you
get a
guys
couple.
to kind of
Review it
guess.
up.
It'll be a little bit easier, but kind of guess which one is which.
Okay.
So,
Like
our
what
first-
the ranking is?
well, which one is it's either Space Jam or Last Dance?
Oh, gotcha.
It should be easy to tell, but I
Oh,
tried to
okay.
pick some ones that are a little bit hard.
Okay.
It makes absolutely no sense and doesn't try to. I can't even tolerate this movie as background noise. It's half a star.
Well, Space Jam, and that person has no
Yeah.
imagination, and they just should go back to working at the library.
I mean,
no, that's library. Obviously, people who read have imaginations.
You're
What's the,
thinking
like,
of somebody pretentious with like a sweater.
No,
vest
just
on.
somewhat just like they
Name's
wear
Craig.
they wear beige, like their life is beige.
He's a vegan.
I
But-
feel like
but
he's
they're
a
about
really
it.
boring programmer. Like
Yeah.
Yeah,
he programs a 3D
Accounting software.
printer. Yeah, accounting software.
And he's our age, but he never saw this movie as a kid. He
Yeah.
saw it for
Like,
the
oh, this
He,
first
didn't,
time.
he actually didn't watch movies.
this
Yeah.
review segment is just roasting people who have
I
opinions.
know.
I know.
There's-
Well, I
I don't know- I
love
don't know what-
picturing what they look like.
No, I think it's funny.
So it's 2.5 star review. It's fine for what it is.
I'm guessing the documentary Last Dance.
I'm gonna say Space Jam because if you've seen The Last Dance, it's not.
That's a croissant for Christian.
Oh man,
That's the Last
Yeah.
Dance.
wait, I said
Oh,
Last
damn.
Dance. Oh,
You said Last Dance.
It's Space Jam. It was.
It's Space Jam. Oh, yes.
All right,
yes.
so here's
Okay.
a 4.5 star review. It was a great trip down memory lane and helped clarify many issues that I didn't understand as a kid growing up in the 90s.
Space Jam. No, Last Dance.
That's
Yeah.
definitely Last
Well,
Dance.
and that's one of the things is like I like to imagine. I like to imagine the Last Dance reviews as Space Jam reviews.
Oh yeah. It clarified a lot of.
And then this is one that I like that I saw that I was like, this is definitely I like to imagine it as a Space Jam review. It's like, this was a great look at one of the great runs by a sports franchise ever. The unprecedented access given for that final year makes a great docuseries. But really just that beginning part was like, fantastic look at the Toon Squad.
It's like fake sports stuff is so funny. Like the Michael Scott 30 for 30 trailers are so
Yeah.
good.
This is here. Figure out this one. NBA 5-star review. NBA fans daydream, and now everyone knows who is GOAT. Smiley face.
I mean, that sounds like Last Dance. Yeah. I'm gonna say it's Last.
That one could easily.
It could be. Yeah. I
Looney
mean,
Tunes.
he is the goat in this.
It is The Last Dance.
Dude, there's we're watching
So
clips
much
of
butt
the
humor.
movie. There's so much cartoon butt in this, and it's so funny. There's
My
just so much cartoon
half my
butt.
family's Norwegian, and like butt and fart jokes just hit them on a whole different level, and it's so wholesome.
Dude, it's so funny because like Norwegians, like Scandinavians, are like they're all tall, blonde, like Viking, like the most intense apex of like humanity, and they just love dick and fart jokes. It's so funny.
Which maybe
I love
that's the apex of humanity. Like
Or
we're
of
all
humor.
trying to do this like satire stuff and like, oh, here's this complicated joke with many formats and layering, and you really just need to fart into a cup and throw it in your
Yeah.
friend's face.
Well, it's like in the graffiti in Pompeii, it's just like a bunch of dicks on the wall.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's so I remember looking those up because you told me like, yeah, dude, people didn't you go to Pompeii?
People
No.
have been doing
Are
dick
you-
and fart jokes forever.
It's so funny picturing cavemen just drawing penises and being like,
Or drawing a stick figure with like a plume of fart coming out of their face. And then it's just that on the wall. And then just like waking up looking at it.
or just like cavemen farting, just like Neanderthals in
Yeah.
the caves, like.
Here's a 1/2-star review. Pretty boring and irrelevant.
Last Dance, I would
Yeah,
say.
I think I would assume Last Dance again.
Space
but
Jam.
It's space.
All your
Jam.
croissants are mine.
irrelevant.
This is my favorite review.
Okay.
I will tell you
it's a long one.
It's a long one. It's a 2-star review.
Okay.
It is it's Space Jam but it's a long one.
Okay.
This is a bad film. It is simultaneously oddly charming in its obviousness. Michael Jordan is not an actor, and it shows. Bill Murray is at the low point of his career, and it shows. It also has a couple of really stupid quotables that popped into my head regularly over the past 13 years, against all hopes of escaping them. Its plot is mediocre. Its animation is offensively terrible by modern standards. The same is true of its editing. It even sexualizes a bunny, for God's sake, but somehow it manages to get a chuckle, even out of me, against every fiber of my being telling me I shouldn't enjoy it.
So, you have kids who take a Psych 101 or Philosophy 101, and they're like Aristotle or whatever, Socrates.
They're like, yeah, Plato's...
This is the kid who took a Film 101 class and thought he's Roger Ebert.
He saw Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
But he also... And then he got mad at himself for, like...
He's mad at himself for liking it. Like, dude, just take the fucking cork out of your ass and just enjoy it.
It's not Citizen Kane. It's not Casablanca. It's not Akira Kurosawa. It's like, it's fucking Space Jam with Michael Jordan.
Let's not rip on this guy, because this guy has a lot of inner torment going on. It's not about the movie. If I was sitting in a room with him, I would Goodwill Hunting him. I'd be like, it's not your fault.
Shut up, dude.
Don't do this to me, man.
Don't do this to me. It's not your fault.
It's not your
Then
fault.
he's gonna start crying. He's like, I like Phantom Menace.
I love the
What you want to see? My dad put out cigarettes on my back. You want to know about that? You want to hear about the time my dad put cigarettes out? That was a terrible Goodwill Hunting.
That was a bad one.
I thought you were doing Rocky for a second.
Oh, no, dude. I do a good Rocky. Oh, wait. I wanted to hear who does the best Scottie Pippen. It sounds like...
I grew 6 inches in my junior year of college.
Dude,
Who still
speaking
grows
of
in college?
Superhumans. He grew...
It was 6'1", and they were like, yeah, all right,
And then
you're a
he
point guard. And
became-
he's 6'7".
When he was 18 or something.
No, he was like 21.
Oh, my God, dude.
I didn't know you could still grow that later on.
It does sound like... It sounds like the demon voice, like, level on, like, a... It's like, look how my voice sounds here. And it's like, Scottie Pippen's like, that's just my regular voice.
Between his being a tall, skinny dude and his name, Scottie Pippen, it sounds like he would have a higher pitched voice.
Yeah. Hey, it's me, Scottie Pippen.
Here's another good one.
Ooh, this one's a 1-star.
It's a 1-star review. Just say no. This film has good effects, and it is smart enough to put it in the world of the Looney Tunes. Also, this film is something of a time capsule, but that's only because of how bad it is. Michael Jordan is not funny. None of the action is very engaging, and even the Looney Tunes feel forced in, mostly because their jokes are lame fart jokes or pop culture references. Lola is the whole problem with this movie in a nutshell. Trying too hard to try to appeal to kids, but coming off as unfunny in the end. She is emotionless, characterless, and incredibly boring. If you like this film, take off your damn nostalgia glasses. If you still like it, then kudos. You probably also like Adam Sandler and Tyler Perry in their movies Jack and Jill and Boo, for example. If this isn't the case, don't be offended. I can respect you for just liking it. I don't recommend it, however, and say it needs to die 10 times over.
This is just someone who
they went hard
is
on
upset
Lola.
other people are having fun.
They did. That was pretty woke, though. They got pretty woke there because Lola's fucking hot.
Why is she so hot?
Dude, it's because little animal bunnies
I wonder how many
were my
furries
childhood
created.
Yeah,
fantasy.
furries were definitely born out of this. Maybe... When was the first...
There's got to be so much porn of her, like
Rule 34.
Rule 34, yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, dude, that's like one of my favorite Wayne's World quotes is when Garth is like, "Did you ever find Bugs Bunny attractive when he put on lipstick and played a girl bunny?"
Yeah.
And Wayne's like,
No. Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, me neither. No, I definitely never thought. Who is the female skunk? I remember as a little kid, Pepe Le Pew, and
it was just kind of like...
And Stinky Le Pew.
I think it was just female skunk.
I remember thinking she was cute.
I'm sure she had a name.
Yeah, she was cute.
They definitely had some weirdly sexual animals.
Oh, yeah. A lot of them, dude. But it was like a good introductory way to if I'm playing devil's advocate to our latest review here, it's a good way to introduce boys to sexuality through something that is familiar, like a little
Boys and
skunk
girls.
or a bunny. Or,
I don't know.
A bunny
Is
that plays
necessary,
basketball.
though?
No, I don't
Maybe
think
just
it's-
have the conversation.
No,
Maybe have the conversation with your parents.
there's no commentary with her. She's just sex. That's it.
Yeah, and it's I don't know, man. It's a weird. It's weird.
Lola's hot, dude.
Like they hit her with that like pin-up silhouette when she enters into the game, and it's like, why does her silhouette gotta be like that, bro?
But she owns it too. Remember, Bugs
She
calls her
does.
doll,
She's
and
like,
then
"I'll
one of the
fuck you up."
Monstars calls her doll, and
Yeah,
she
her
fucks
eyes
him
turn
up.
on
She's like,
fire.
she's like, hey,
loved it.
guess what? I'm a beautiful girl, but I'm not gonna let you objectify me. I'm gonna be beautiful,
And I
but
guess-
not for you.
We're running
And I
long,
guess-
so it's a transition into a review combo, our personal review combo with what we're watching.
Oh,
Also, as three white dudes, sorry, I just want to
Yeah.
leave Lola. We'll leave Lola.
All right.
But also, we are three white dudes, and I think maybe she could have been an inspiration to girls and a reason for them to watch.
yeah.
And, I mean, maybe the angle we're missing is it's supposed to inspire girls to play basketball. I mean, there's
Yeah. And
Charles
she's-
Barkley plays pickup with a bunch of girls.
And they beat him up.
Yeah, so that is an angle we did forget.
We dropped the ball on that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, what do you guys rate? Let's go Space Jam first.
Sposs Jam, I'm gonna rate it frickin'. I mean, it depends. As a kid, I'd probably give it 8 dunks out of 10.
Okay.
But now it's probably like a 5 or a 6.
I think also too, let's do it like enjoyment. Watch again, because I think as a movie, it's not a very good movie.
Yeah.
It's like whatever, but it's Space Jam.
It was nostalgic. I'll split the difference. I'll give it a 6.5 dunks out of 10. I gave it 6 dunks, and on my last dunk, I kind of trip and fall. my shoe gets stuck to the floor.
I'll give it a 3 out of 5, 3 divots out of 5.
Okay.
Which is one of the best jokes in the movie, is that he's fixing a divot, and he's
Yeah.
5
Like-
feet deep in the hole.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he's like, he's fixing a divot as he walks.
It's fine.
But yeah.
I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5. Round mound of rebounds. That's Charles Barkley's rebound championship. But yeah, I'll give it 4 out of 5 because of nostalgia and shortness.
And you're a baller, too.
I love that sweet basketball stuff.
What about so Last Dance? I'll give it a 8 out of. Actually, no, I need to stick to my ranking. 4 out of 5 for me. 4 rings out of 5 for some reason.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll give it 9 Air Jordans out of 10. I absolutely loved Last Dance, and anybody who hasn't seen it, watch it.
I'm gonna give it 6 rings out of 6.
All right.
Nice, dude.
But there is a Washington Wizards season, so it's like it brings it back down a ring. So 5 rings out of
Yeah, I
6.
did want to see that stuff,
Yeah.
which I think he omitted because it wasn't.
Yeah, because
great.
it wasn't part of the narrative that they
Yeah.
had. But also, I'd say it's like the mere fact that he had Final Cut over it, kind of
Yeah.
like it's like okay.
What are we missing? I did want to see a lot of like legacy, like like a 15-20 minute part of the last episode breaking down the
Like his effect.
Yeah, but it just ends, and you're like, fuck, okay. Well, I guess I'm gonna go watch some guys on YouTube talk about these things.
Yeah.
Some infotainment channels.
Yeah. How are you doing, Scott Burrell?
Yeah.
How you doing, bud?
How many people did Michael Jordan ruin?
A lot.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that I think helped him is because everyone was always trying to look the next Michael Jordan, and as soon as one of those came to the NBA, he fucking destroyed them.
Yeah.
So what are you guys watching?
Not watching. I haven't watched much since because we actually did these episodes pretty back to back. The last previous one. So, Space Jam was what I watched since.
Okay.
What'd you think of it?
Yeah.
I recently watched Batman Begins for the first time in years, and that was fucking awesome. That movie holds up well.
Michael Keaton
And
crushes it in that movie.
yes, he does. One of the most profound things about that was Liam Neeson's portrayal of Ra's al Ghul.
Liam Neeson's?
Liam Neeson's dude.
You love some
Yeah, I love Liam Neeson's, but Bane, Tom Hardy's Bane, was very reflective of Liam Neeson's portrayal of Ra's al Ghul, who's the head of the League of Shadows. So it was really cool. And I mean, Christopher Nolan, we know he's the fucking friend of the show.
Yeah, friend of the show.
Fucking amazing guy who only
Nolan.
watches his own movies by a fireplace.
He raises his glass. Thank you, Christian.
Yes, you're welcome, Chris.
Thank you, Christian.
But it was just really interesting to see that reflection of like Tom Hardy definitely took some inspiration from Liam Neeson's delivery. It was great.
I mean,
Love
it
that
definitely.
movie.
I think that's one of the things we haven't. That series of movies is so well intertwined into its
I'd
own.
be down to do a in review kind of thing.
Oof, I would love
3
it.
episodes in a row, each movie maybe.
I love
Yeah.
watching some Batman. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Or maybe we do all the Batmans. We can't say in review because kind of funny. That's their branding. But I do want to start doing something like that where we just do a whole thing.
Yeah.
Like a whole series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are
I've
you
been watching
watching?
a lot of basketball.
Nice.
Because it's back and it's a lot of fun and it's on like 8 hours a day. It starts at 1 and you can just put it on and be like, I'm watching a little bit of basketball.
No crowds, right? Do they have the virtual crowd?
They have
Yeah.
the virtual crowd.
They
It's
do?
really cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And that's pretty much it. I feel like there's something I watched, but also
Oh, I started watching Age of Korra, which is the
that's the spinoff.
the
right?
following, of Avatar, which is dope because it's 100 years in the future and there's like the Industrial Revolution.
Ooh.
So because there's always these high fantasy things, and they never, it's kind of just high fantasy perpetually.
Yeah.
But in this, it actually, things progress.
Progresses on.
And the show and that world building are top notch, world class. So it's cool to see.
Weird. Cool. Nice. Well.
That's all. What does he say? That's all, folks.
Oh, yeah.
Well, hit us up on hit us up on Twitter at Stinky Podcast and tell us what you think we should watch next.
Do we have anything on the docket?
I think someone requested some horror or something. So.
Someone wanted horror, and we got Batman v Superman.
Yeah. Okay. I actually watched Justice League, like a little bit, and then a little bit of Batman v Superman. They were just on somewhere, and I was like, I watched.
I'd be
those
down
for
to do
a second.
those.
And then, but yeah, hit us up on YouTube or on Twitter at Stinky Podcast, and rate and review the Stinky Podcast. And
That's all, folks.